Hi guys, and welcome back to Newgate Nurseries. So now we're hitting September, it's only around the corner, it's next week. We need to start thinking about next spring. So this is prime bulb time, okay? All the bulbs have just arrived in from Holland. So we're going to give you a quick tour of what's available at the nursery, and then we're going to go and make a bulb planter. Alright, so first of all your popular favourites. We have all these in pre-packs now. These are all $3.99, 3 for £10. Okay, some great value packs here. For example, Crocus. These are one of the first bulbs to flower. You can get these at 40 Crocus, okay, and they're $3.99 or 3 for a tenner. They go alongside the snowdrops, which are the first bulbs to flower. So we start with the snowdrops, then we move on to Crocus. Then you've got things like Dwarf Daffodils, which are going to be flowering next. There's a whole array of these. You've got mixed Dwarf Daffodils, or you've got the old favourite, which are tete-a-tetes. And they're down here. 30 tete-a-tetes in a pack there, and you get 3 of those for £10. The next thing to flower after the daffodils are the tulips. Okay, with the tulips you've got a whole host. You've got mixed packs. You've got rockery tulips, dwarf ones for pots and for small areas. You've got double tulips, nice big double layer of petals. They'll get to about 40 centimetres. And then of course we've got the tall mixed, which are the more commonly seen tulips. We've also got the large daffodils in all sorts of sizes and colours. Okay, they're in 40 packs for $3.99. So all these can be mixed and matched, and then we go on to things like Alliums. Now, a lot of people buy Alliums when they're in pots in the summer because you're thinking about it, but if you can just have a little bit of forethought, put these in now, you get in a pack here of 12 bulbs for like £3, and they're going to give you loads and loads of colour. Put them in amongst your grasses and things like that. Okay, so they're all the bumper packs. We've also got English bluebells as well, and muscari. Okay, so they'll all be mixed and matched for $3.99, 3 for a tenner, and they're all available on the web shop. We also have landscape packs. Landscape packs are bigger bags. Okay, now these are all they're selected by the grower in Holland, and they're all mixes that really work together. So for example, we've got these lovely deep pink hyacinths, or you've got a mixture of lovely tulips, or scented narcissi. Then there's also muscari and white tulips. You've got different alliums, and in these bags, like I said, they're a larger bag. You get 18 alliums, for example. Okay, they're a good sized bulb as well. So all these are available. These are $4.99. Recommended retail price $7.99. So that's your landscape packs. Then over to this side, we've got whole racks devoted to dwarf daffodils, different name varieties, normal sized daffodils, and we've got tulips, dwarf water lily tulips, something a bit different. Okay, we've got lily tulips, which have got a lily type flower. They look lovely with wallflowers. So these are all £2.49, or you can buy 3 for £5, and they can be mixed with this rack round the corner, which is something called a lifestyle mix. Now, the lifestyle bulbs are basically just a nice selection of the more popular bulbs that you can buy. So again, you've got your crocuses, you've got your alliums, you've got anemones for spring colour, fritillaria, sparaxis. So all these can be mixed, 3 packs for £5. And then finally we do something a bit different, which is the exotic collection. The exotic collection, these are a bigger pack, something a little bit more unusual. For example, this Allium Schubertii, which is really stunning when it comes out into flower, with its wiry little florets. You've got the very large alliums with the really, really tall heads and the sturdy stems. We've got down here fritillarias. They're fantastic. You get a really big corm in there as well, so you'll get a good show next spring. Alright, so they're all 2 for £5 on the exotic, $2.99 each. So they're all the price points of the bulbs. So now you've seen what we've got, let's go and make a bulb planter. So this is the time of year when your summer pots are starting to look a little bit more on the tired side. Maybe they're looking alright now, but in a month or so they'll start to look tired. So it's a good idea to get the pots emptied, and then what we're going to do for winter. Well, The next film I'm going to make is going to be totally about winter pot planting. So it's going to be all about which plants you can use, which combinations you can use. But today we're doing bulbs. So what we're doing is something called, the Dutch invented this, and it's called a layered bulb planter or a lasagna plantain. Okay, so lasagna plantain is basically where you put 3 or more layers of bulbs which are going to grow up through each other and flower at different times of the year. We're going to do one of those. This is a sort of subsection of what the planter should look like. So when you're doing a layered bulb planter or a lasagna planter, you use about 1 inch or 2 of gravel, so pea gravel here, washed pea gravel. This is for drainage to allow the air and the roots to circulate around the base so we don't get any waterlogging. Then we're going to put the layers of bulbs. The bulbs that we're using in this one are, to start with, at the bottom, the tallest one is the normal garden tulip. That's this one here. Okay? So the garden tulip is going to be the last one to flower. That's going to flower about April, May. The next layer, we put in daffodils. Okay, these are a semi-dwarf daffodil, and these are going to flower about sort of March time. Okay? Then we've got the hyacinths. The hyacinths are going to give you loads of perfume. They're going to smell amazing. Okay? So this wants to be somewhere near your deck or your door or somewhere where you're going to be living on the outside. These hyacinths are going to, they're the third layer, so they're going to be flowering about sort of February, March. Okay? Then we've got the species Crocus. So these are the large flower crocus. These are going to flower about February time. And then to finish it, we've got the snowdrops. These are going to be the first ones out, January, straight after Christmas. Okay, so we've got the layers. This one's got 5 layers. About, in between each bulb, the rule of thumb is it's the thickness of a bulb between each bulb. That's the space that you use. Okay, and about 1 inch or 2 between each layer. That's all you need to do. It might look packed when you're finished. You might think, oh my God, how are they going to find their way out? Well, they always do. Okay, and it'll look an absolute picture right through the spring. So from January, February, March, April, into May, this thing's going to be looking stunning. What you can do on the top, because obviously from September now right through until winter, it's going to look pretty bare. So what you can do with this planter, you can either do it just as it is and leave it and just pop it somewhere out of sight, or you can plant a winter planter on top. So like I said, this is something I'm going to talk a lot more about in the next month or so. But I'll show you today just roughly how to do the winter planter and how I would do it. Okay? That will then look great until about January, February, which will still look great then, but then all of a sudden you'll start to see the snowdrops appear. And then through there you'll get the crocus, then the hyacinths, then the daffodils, and then the tulips, whilst the top is still flowering and just become massive flowers. Okay, so to start with, to make one of these, we need a decent sized pot. It can be plastic, terracotta, anything you want. Okay, and in there we're going to put about 2 inches of drainage material. So we're going to use a washed pea gravel. Okay. This just stops the holes getting clogged up and any waterlogging. Okay. On top of that, so that's about 2 inches, we need about 2 inches of decent multi-purpose compost or bulb fibre. So, the bulb fibre we have here, Western bulb fibre. Bulb fibre is just basically a slightly more bulky compost for free draining, or you could use a Jack's Magic and just a good general multi-purpose. I'm using Jack's Magic today. Okay, so your multi-purpose compost does tend to be a lot better value than bulb fibre. It always tends to be a small bag bulb fibre, and it just tends to be a bit on the pricey side. So, we've got the Jack's Magic. We've got about 2 inches of that, so I'm just doing this first layer here. So I'm using these tulips, the tall mix tulips. These are part of the 3.99 and 3 for a tenner. You get 25 of these. Just going to pop them in. Now when you're planting a bulb, when you're buying bulbs are basically you're buying a pocket of energy. Because that's what this is, it's a pocket of energy. And all the growth's going to come out of it. A lot of people worry about which way to put a bulb. It really, to be honest, it doesn't matter. You can put it upside down and it will still find its way to the top. Something called geotrophism. But this, basically, you want the point at the top. It's as simple as that. The point of the bulb always facing up. So we're going to just push these in, again, about the width of the bulb between them, all the way around. And these are going to find their way up by hook or by crook and be flowering by April, May. Okay. All mixed colours. If you don't like the normal tulip, they do double tulips, they do lily flowering tulips, a whole host. You could theme this for colours. This is all going to be mixed today, but you could theme it for colours. You could do all whites and purples. That's quite nice. Right, so that's the tulips in this planter, which is a 47 centimetre planter. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 16, 17 just to give you an idea. Okay, then back on with the compost. So it's literally like making a lasagna. You keep layering it. Break the compost up and just firm it through. Okay, so we've just done this layer. Now we're going to put the daffodils in. Okay, we're using a tete-a-tete today. Tete-a-tete is probably the most popular daffodil. Okay, again we're using one of these bumper packs. So I'll give you an idea of costing afterwards, what we've used. So the dwarf daffodils, again we're looking at the point up, and they're going to be out flowering about March time. The first signs of spring, daffodils you can't beat. Right and cheery. Okay, so we're just going to pop them in. Don't worry about the fact that that might be directly on top of a tulip bulb, because, like I said, they're just going to find their way through. The shoots will just weave around the bulbs. No problem with that. This planter, when we've done, is going to be given out to one of our subscribers. So subscribe to this channel and you'll have a chance of winning it. Okay, so we've filled that now with the tete-a-tetes, all nicely spaced. One more in there for us. Right. So then we go again. Another 2 inches of compost on top. So the next layer is going to be the hyacinths. These are going to be the real showstoppers, these. Big flowers, real sweetly scented. As for fertilizer, all you need is the multi-purpose. We don't need an extra fertilizer. The reason being is the bulbs are to be fed when they're dying back. So when this planter's finished and it's all dying back and it's, say, June time, that's the time to feed it. You want a high potash liquid feed like a Chem Pack number 4 and water it in. And then that'll feed the bulb will capture that feed and then use it next spring. Alright, so right now these bulbs will have all been fed in the fields in home where they come from. We don't need to worry too much about feed, and the Jack's Magic will already have it in anyway. So, hyacinths. Now these aren't prepared hyacinths. Prepared hyacinths are things that you can use at Christmas, and they're basically ones that force for indoors. These are just garden hyacinths, so these are hardy and they'll flower every year. Prepared hyacinths only flower once. Okay? With the hyacinths, I'm not going to put as many in, because they do form a big shell. Okay, so your hyacinths are in, so we've just done this layer here. So now we need the crocus. So the crocus will be out in February. Closer all the time. Another layer. Different types of crocus. You've got the large flower crocus, which we're using here, or you can use the slightly smaller flower crocus. You get a lot more for your money of those. The choice is yours. We're using the larger flower here. Again, with crocus, it's a little bit more difficult to see where the point is, but you will see it if you will unwrap it just at the top there. Now, as we're going up, the bulbs are getting smaller, so more of these per layer. So if you're buying the bumper packs from Newgate, like I said, available online, on the web shop, Newgate Direct. They are £3.99, 3 for £10 for each bumper pack. And so far we have used 1, 2, 3. We'll be using 5 of the bumper packs, so probably best to get 6 packs. So that would be £20. And you'd have a few left then as well. Now this is a big bulk plant. If you're just doing a regular size planter, then 3 of the packs for £10 will be more than adequate. And that'll put a really good show on for you. Just finish off with these. Okie dokie, so that's your crocus. Find the cap for you. That's that one. Okay, so they're going to be full flower in February. And then we go a layer higher. Now because I'm top planting this, I'm going to plant these a little bit deeper. So there's your crocus layer. Now we're going to put the snowdrops in. I'm going to put the snowdrops in as I plant the top on this one. If you were just doing it as just a bulb planter and leaving it, you then put your crocus in and your snowdrops, sorry, and then compost on top and leave it slightly lower than the rim. But as I'm putting plants in, they need some sort of root system area here, so we're going to just put some more compost in and I'm going to dot those in as I put my plants in. Okay. So to use this big pot's use the best part of Baggy Jack's magic. There we go. Okay. So that would be complete. Obviously we've got the snowdrops to put in, but that would be complete if you were just leaving it as a bare bulb planter. We're going to do some planting to give you some colour now. So things that you can use for colour now. Obviously you've got your new season pansies, violas, trailing violas. These are regular violas mixed, but you can get all different types of violas if you're doing hanging baskets and such like. They're going to go in for the colour. Then we use the evergreen shrubs. And the evergreen shrubs, we've got evergreen herbs here. We've got thyme, callicephalus, we've got silver thyme, we've got this beautiful Gualtheria, which I'll talk about in a minute. And we've got little grasses, evergreen shrubs. So they're going to be your foliage all year round. And then we've got cyclamen down at the bottom there, which are going to give you some bright colour down as well. Okay. So when you're planting a tub, the first thing to think of is height in the centre. So for that I'm going to use a skimmia. So skimmia to Polygamy Bella, this one. That's a great plant for this time of year. It's evergreen. It's got these little buds, flower buds, which then turn bright red, look like berries right through the winter. And it opens up with a lovely white scented flower in spring. Okay, so that's going to sit in the centre. So the bulbs are all underneath there, they'll be quite happy. In front of that, just to soften it, I'm going to use this grass. This is called Carex. It's Carex Jenica, this one. It's a lovely little grass for the winter. It's just going to sit in front. Instead of that, if you didn't like those, you could use this. This is a fantastic plant. This is a new one. Like I said, we'll talk a lot more about all these in another video, but this is white. You want this white spire, grows straight upright, bright white foliage all year round. Okay. That's my height. Now I'm just going to pop my snowdrops in before I forget them. So the snowdrops are going to go in just under my planting. That's my final layer of bulbs. These are tiny, so they just basically push in. Okay. Just scatter them about and they'll go in as we put the plants in. Okay, so the other plants I've used for this are Paluna, which is a heather. It's going to give you colour now into the winter months. Just stick one of those in. Front. This is one of my favourite plants, and this is called Gualtheria procumbens. And the good thing about this, its other name is wintergreen. So any of you that used to play football remember the smell of wintergreen in the changing rooms. if you ever get one of these plants, just break it, smell it, and it smells just like Germany. It's fantastic. It's evergreen, gets berries, gives you a bit of nostalgia as well. So that's going to sit in there. So I'm working in triangles here, always working triangles, in whatever size your pot is, because that allows, it keeps the sort of spherical nature of the pot going, and also it creates planting pockets that makes it so much easier. So we've got the Gulf area, we've gone for the header, and now we're going to go for either the Hyacinths, which is lovely, wiry silver, or the thyme. We're going to use the thyme on this occasion, just to give you the scent. So silver thyme goes in. Okay. And now we're going to go for some colour. So I'm going to use 3 cyclamen. Cyclamen are fantastic plants. This is a variety called Miracle. Okay, it'll tolerate all those cold weather. Really brighten the pot up. It's in all different colours, whites, reds, pinks. So it's always a good idea to get your whites, your pinks with these, and then your blues with your violas or your pansies. Now, a bit later in this autumn season, it's just starting, we're going to have other bedding plants available like Bellis daisies, wallflowers, polyanthus primroses, so all that. So when they're ready, we'll do another video and then show you the full range of stuff in pots for the winter. This one will just right through the autumn. I always prefer the winter plants to the summer plants. You get so much more variety. You get some real hardy performers that will just carry on in the garden all year round. Okay, so the violas have gone in now. Just room for one more. So what I'm doing in between the normal violas I've used, I'm going to use this training viola. And these are just going to cascade a little bit more over the side. And these are going in between each of the other violas. The snowdrops, you can see that on the camera, the snowdrop can just nestle underneath and it'll find its way through. Absolutely no problem. And there we have it. A plant that's going to adorn your patio or your decking and look great all year, right through all autumn, all winter, and be a blaze of colour until next May. There we go. Just rotate it for you. So there you go. So that is a Dutch Lasagna planter with a British twist on top. Thank you.